Hello everyone, my name is Jake Turney. I'm an employer wellness coordinator at Caramount Health, and today I'm here to talk to you guys about food prep. The reason I'm giving this presentation is because for the last 4 years I've done my own food prep. The only time that I have not prepped food is when I've been on vacation, so I have a lot of experience in this department. Hopefully I can give you guys some helpful tips and tricks to make food prep very easy and enjoyable for you guys. So with that, we'll jump right in. Our macronutrient breakdown. Your individual breakdown will be dependent on your specific goals. So if you're aiming for weight loss, your caloric or the amount of calories you burn has to be more than your caloric intake. And then on the other end of that spectrum would be your weight gain. The calories you expend should be less than your caloric intake. If you are trying to gain weight, hopefully you are trying to gain muscle mass, lean muscle mass, and we're not trying to gain fat. General recommendations. Now, these are going to be your macronutrient breakdown for a general population. Obviously, there are extremities on both sides, but just keep in mind this is for general population. Carbs should make up 45 to 65% of your diet. Protein, 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, or 0.36 grams per body weight, which is 10 to 35% of your diet. And then fats will be 20 to 35% of your diet. Carbs. 1 gram of carbs equals 4 calories. So what that means is if we're looking at a nutrition label and you see that we have 200 calories on your label, and let's say it says 5 grams of carbs, so you would take 5 times 4, that would be 20 calories, that would be a part of your total 200 calories. Hopefully that makes sense. Your major source of energy for your body are carbohydrates, so we do need to include them in our diets. Carbs are an important part of any diet, whether that diet be considered for weight loss, weight gain, or weight management. The big point here, the type of carb you choose matters more than the amount of carbs that you eat, so keep that in mind. It's more important to eat healthy carbs than try to limit carb intake. And examples of carbs would be our pictures here: brown rice, sweet potatoes, whole wheat bread, any green vegetable, including spinach, broccoli, etc. Protein, again, like carbs, 1 gram equals 4 calories. We all know protein promotes muscular growth and repair, as well as hormone and enzyme development, and you want to try and aim to eat leaner sources of protein. So that would be your chicken breasts, chicken tenders, salmon, lean ground beef, turkey, tuna, shrimp, eggs, beans, and legumes. The lean ground beef we want to try and keep above that 85% threshold. So the 85-15, the 90-10, or the 93-7 would be fine. Fats, 1 gram equals 9 calories, only difference there. Aids in vitamin absorption and supplies the body with essential fatty acids that the body cannot make itself. We do need to eat fats. They need to be included in our diet simply because our body cannot make essential fatty acids. So we need to take those in through our diet. We want to avoid these saturated fats like butter and cream, and trans fats like processed foods and fast foods, and try and replace them with unsaturated fats, which would be avocado, nuts, and olive oil. Other examples of fats would be fatty fish, chia seeds, nut butter, and flaxseed. Food prep tips. So I'm going to give you guys my tips. Hopefully you can take some of these and apply them to your own life. I'll also provide examples of what I do, and again, hopefully that will aid you in your food preparation journey. Set aside time each week or weekend. For myself, it usually takes me about 3 hours to prep my food per week. I cook for 5 days at a time, and I try and break those 3 hours into 3 1-hour segments. But I'm prepping for 30 meals a week, so that's why it takes me as long as it takes me. You may want to experiment with your time frames. I know some people will do 2 or 3 days at a time and then prep again after that third day. Again, this is just going to be something that you have to figure out yourself. But for myself, I do 30 meals, so that's 6 meals a day. Yes, I know I eat a lot. And it takes me about 3 hours every weekend to do so. So I'll do an hour Friday, an hour Saturday, and an hour Sunday if I'm here and able to do that. Sometimes it ends up being on one day, which is a ton of fun, but yeah, we'll move on. Invest in quality food storage containers. The great thing about this one is most grocery stores have food containers where you can buy them there. I personally have bought mine from Sam's and from Food Line. They usually sell them in about 5 to 10 per container that you buy. So just keep that in mind. If you're planning on doing 10, you might have to buy 2 sets of 5. Save your favorite recipes. This is an important one. Food prep can be very boring, especially when you're eating healthy. So it's important that you save your favorite recipes. I have a chicken recipe that I've had for almost all of my 4 years of experience with food prep. I still use it. I rotate usually 3 or 4 recipes just to kind of spice it up, just so I'm not eating the same thing every single week. That's a good way to burn out really quickly on food prep. So save your favorite recipes, find one that you like, and put it in the rotation. Shop with the list. This is another important one. Write down what you need, stick to your list. I struggle with this mightily. I'm a big Oreo fan, so I don't put it on my list, but sometimes I end up bringing a couple home. So stick to your list. Don't do what I do and buy Oreos that aren't on your list. Vary your menu. Again, we want variety in our diets, and variety promotes good habits. If you eat the same thing every day for a month, you're probably going to go insane. You may not, but you will probably go insane. So vary your menu quite a bit. Keep things different, so you can keep on with your food prep journey. Pre-portion each meal. This one's also important. So for example, if you're planning on consuming 200 grams of carbs per day into 5 meals per day, you want to pre-portion your carb intake for 40 grams each meal. Hopefully that makes sense. But pre-portioning your meal will help with your portion control as well as your macronutrient breakdown. Consider each food group. This is a tough one for me as well. I am bad about not getting my fruit intake. So I have to base my meals on if I'm going to eat fruit or not. Usually I eat fruit in the mornings for breakfast and then at night right before I go to bed. That personally is what works for me. You may have no problem eating fruit, but you may have a problem eating carbs. So make sure that you include each of your food groups in your meal prep. Utilize your slow cookers. I put cookers plural there because I use 2 every week. I use one for rice, and I use one, sometimes I'll use one for chicken, ground beef, pork, anything that I'm making that week. So utilize those slow cookers. A really easy way to take 5 minutes, dump everything, turn it on low, and then come back to it 6, 8, 10 hours later and have your food ready. And repeat weekly. You know, with food prep, like I've said earlier, it can be very repetitive and very boring, but the way that you would make progress in prepping food is by doing it weekly. Just like with exercise, we want to continue good habits, and hopefully those habits will become, hopefully those actions will become habits and we get to the point where we don't even have to think about it anymore. Healthy snack ideas. This first one is my go-to. I love this meal, sweet and savory oats. Not really all that creative, but it works for me. A half a cup of oatmeal, a teaspoon of peanut butter, a tablespoon of peanut butter and a teaspoon of honey. There's the macro breakdown right here. Again, this one works for me, so I included it. Oatmeal is easy to buy, it's cheap. You can buy a lot of it at one time. And this is what I eat every night before I go to bed. And there's another one at the bottom, yogurt and berries. I'm not a big yogurt fan, but I know there are a lot of yogurt folks out there. So there's a yogurt recipe. And here on the next slide, we have a gluten-free option, which is a gluten-free white bean salad. And then at the bottom, we have vegan avocado toast. And all four of those, those three recipes can be found at this bottom link right here, the Snack Nation. It has 120 recipes on there. You can sort them by under 200 calories, under 100 calories, high protein meals, low protein meals, however you want to do it, vegan, gluten-free. That's a great source, so make sure and write that one down. Well, thanks guys, thanks for listening. Next week, we're gonna do a challenge regarding food prep. That challenge will include, if you've meal prepped for a specific amount of times for that week, you'll be entered in for a drawing. Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. And good luck with your transformation challenge.